Ed, and welcome to Eddie Go Fly. Today I'm going to be talking about this Hobbico Superstar trainer. And believe it or not, with all the planes I have, this is one of my favorite planes. I think everyone should have a trainer in their fleet. I don't care if you have turbine planes, radials, warbirds, a crazy 3D person, whatever. You should still have a trainer in your fleet for those days you just want to toss the plane in your car, go fly. We call it, at my club, we call it a Sunday flyer. You know, you don't have to get a trailer to take your plane to the field. It's just throw it in your car and go fly. So when I acquired this plane, it came in the ready to fly version, which actually had all the servos and an engine already installed right out of the box. And you know, I'm an eccentric person, so I had to be a little different about it. It did have an OS LA 40 LA two-stroke engine, which is pretty standard size for trainers of this size, or 40 size trainer. And I went ahead and I slapped this OS 4-stroke on it, and this is an FS52 Surpass engine. Now when you convert to a 4-stroke, 2-stroke to 4-stroke, you do lose some power for the same size. So if I went from a 42-stroke to a 44-stroke, you would lose some power. However, it is a 52, so it is a little bit higher on the power side. So I wanted that so I could do a little more aerobatic maneuvers. Now, the only issue with that is that with a big engine, you have a bigger prop. So if you look at the size of this prop, I have about an inch and a half to the table here. Now, grass is taller than an inch and a half, so you might be able to see the prop here. It's a little green from cutting the grass at the airfield. And it was even worse before. If you look at the plane, it's tilting back really far. It's almost like it's doing a wheelie. If you look at the tail, 2-3 inches there. It makes landings interesting, but fun nonetheless. So I talked a little bit about how I like to do a little bit more aerobatic maneuvers. With that said, the throws on all my control surfaces are way higher than the manual says on this one. I think it says on high rates you should have like 3/8 to half an inch maybe of total throw for all the surfaces. Well, I have this thing ripping the control surfaces as far as they'll go, and you should see the looks I get at the field. You know, it looks like it's my first day flying. I'm out there with my trainer, and boom, loops, barrel rolls, hammerheads, you name it, and everyone's just astounded. I mean, everyone knows me at the field anyways, but when they see a trainer taking off, that's not what they're expecting to see. So another different thing I did to this plane, besides what it comes as out of the box, is a lighting package. I just went to eBay. I found the cheapest lighting set I could find that would fit this wingspan. There is a cheaper set, but it didn't stretch as far. I think it was like $14 maybe, and you get green and red wingtip lights, you get the strobes, you get a red strobe for the top, red strobe for the bottom, white strobe for the back, you get landing lights, and you get landing gear lights. So pretty much cover all the bases for your standard aircraft for lighting. I did expect them to be a little bit brighter. They're not too bright. It has to be pretty much sundown for this thing really to be bright up there. And I've only flown it like that one time. I don't like flying at night. I don't like the chance of maybe not seeing my plane and putting it into a tree or something. But the lights do add a cool effect to the plane. So a couple issues I had with this plane. One thing about trainers is some people, they purchase them intending to get into the hobby, but they never do. so they never had that learning curve or anything like that. Well, I found this thing on eBay, ready to fly, remote and everything, Servos engine, for like $75, including shipping. So I had this thing at my door for next to nothing. I think the ready to fly version from Hobbico, Horizon, whatever, their standard nitro trainer is usually between $300 and $400. So I got a pretty good deal. But with that said, when the guy went to ship it, he told me he had to remove the tail to get it in the box. Now, me thinking, remove the tail, okay, there's a couple nuts and bolts, take them off and toss the tail in the box. Wrong. This guy took the whole vertical stabilizer and rudder and just folded it down, which meant the wood was broken and snapped, and I went ahead and epoxied the heck out of it without any vertical dowels or anything like that. I pretty much got behind the plane, held the vertical stabilizer, and just doused it in epoxy. Just held it there. It was only 5-minute epoxy, so held it straight, dried, and end of story. Now we got rudder. The only other issue I experienced with this plane is probably my fault, but I put probably 30, 40 flights on this plane, and I noticed a weird vibrating sound. It didn't sound like anything came loose, really. It just sounded like something started rubbing, and I wasn't quite sure what it was, so I'm like, I'm gonna do a slow pass by, see if I could see anything. Most people would land their plane and be done with it, but I did a low and slow pass, and sure enough, the engine was still running, but it was facing down. Now, that's never good. So I pretty much did a U-ey, landed the plane, and the engine was only hanging on by one bolt. It was hanging on by the bolt on the left and the throttle push rod on the right. So got it in just in the nick of time. Now the good thing about trainers is, had the engine completely dead sticked and shut off, I could have been anywhere in the sky and landed this thing no problem because of this gigantic wingspan and light wing loading. So, well, that just about sums up the Hobbico Superstar that I own. I enjoy doing the little mods, like adding a bigger engine, you know, not a crazy engine, but bigger, give it a little more life, give it some bigger throws, adding a lighting package, you know, anything like that. That's what I love to do in the hobby. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and join me next time on Eddie Go Fly.